Ladies and gentlemen, it's a big, weird, wild world out there, folks. And here we stand. Al pie del cañón, ready for anything. I'm Rob, and you're listening to...
The ProBoh Show!
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing on this beautiful Thursday morning, 8:30 Central European Time for this podcast exclusive ProBoh Show? How you doing? Poor guys listening that only listen to the radio. They're like, oh, he's gone on holiday. No, he hasn't. He's here. How are you doing, friends? A big good morning to my live listeners right now. We have BTI, Eugene, The Bridge, Vero, Urs in the chat. How are you doing, my friends? What's going on? What have we got prepared for today's show? Let me tell you. Well, in 100 humans... we asked 100 humans today, what did we ask them? Great question. To name something that has strings on it. If you're an international listener, you need to think of the English definition of strings. Could be cuerdas, could be other things. Let's see. Strings. Something that has strings on it. And then in Complete the News, we'll find out what Germany has been plagued with. Ooh! Going to Germany and Complete the News, Rob? Yes, we are, sir. And today's unpopular opinion, a great one today, is with regards to patriotism. With regards to patriotism, today's unpopular opinion is patriotism is not a virtue. El patriotismo no es una virtud. Woo, my friends, really? Yeah. Oh, thank you. Sit down, yeah. All right, so what's happening over here in the chat? Let's see. BTI, good morning, Rob and friends. Good morning, guys, says Eugene. Morning, Rob. I'm here at the end of the wick, says The Bridge. You know, my grandfather used to say, you're getting on my wick. You're getting on my wick, and it meant that I was making him angry. You're getting on my wick. Do you know that expression, Bridge? Or is it just a very northern English thing? Vero says, good morning, beautiful warriors. I'd like to dedicate today's show to my mum on her 76th birthday. That's for Vero's mum, Conchi. Happy birthday, Conchi. 76 years young. Beautiful. And everybody's saying good morning to Vero's mum out there. Urs sends us a big good morning. Rob, getting cross-eyed from following the mosquito. Yeah. See, there's a mosquito in my house, or a family of them. I don't know. They're buffet dining on me. A mosquito's bitten me on my finger. What kind of an a-hole of an insect do you have to be to bite someone's finger? That is definitely not the juiciest part of the human body, is it? To bite. So, like, it bites my finger and it gets all swollen. I'll be honest, if you're going to swell up a part of my body, I'd rather it not be my fingers. All right, mosquitoes? Jeez Louise. HBTY to your happy birthday to your mum, Vero, and to my bro, and to my mother-in-law too. Happy birthday. My God, a lot of birthdays going on in the chat. Good morning, Min. How you doing? The Bridge. No, I didn't, Rob, although I may have heard something to the effect. You're getting on my wick. Yeah, I used to hear that daily from my grandfather. So we're producing the show, as you know, if you're a regular listener, from the heart of Spain in Madrid, which is just like empty right now. August in Madrid is a blessing and a curse because, to be fair, the temperatures aren't fit for human beings. All right, people who come here on vacation in August, I think, what the hell are you doing? You literally cannot be outside. You just come here to be in air-conditioned buildings. All right, good for you. Great vacation choice. But the blessing side is it's empty. So you go anywhere and there's space. You can go to the cinema, you go to a restaurant, do whatever the hell you want. There's no one here. Oh, it's a blessing. It reminds me of the. Can I say this? The good side of COVID. You know, that you could get a restaurant booking with no problems. Rob, not juicy unless you have sausage fingers. Yeah, where is the mosquito in my house? Go to Buckingham Palace. There are fingers there that could feed a whole swarm of mosquitoes. Okay, someone got upset with me for saying king sausage fingers, so I'm not going to say that anymore. But really upset. He's the king. And it's not my king. King of the sausage fingers, maybe. Anyway. So, guys, I'm here. You're here. Let's see what's going on in the world. Why not? So we do have some news today. Two pieces of news that are kind of cleanups or further information on previous stories we have covered. Do you remember, my friends out there in Radioland, do you remember me talking about Mr. Brian Johnson? You're thinking, Brian Johnson, your memory Rolodex, your fingers are flipping through the Rolodex in your memory. You may not remember him by name, but I have mentioned him several times in the show. He is the 45-year-old millionaire and tech executive who's trying to age backwards. Okay, he's trying to become younger. He is the guy who I stated when we were talking about these age reversal, when we were talking about the moral implications of age reversal or living longer. Do you remember we did an unpopular opinion that was human lifespan should not be extended? Well, he is the tech executive who gets regular blood transfusions from his son, from his young son. Well, apparently, here's I'll read you the news headline coming from Business Insider. The 45-year-old tech executive millionaire who's trying to age backwards says he won't get any more blood plasma transfusions from his teenage son because there are no benefits detected. You've got to, if Brian Johnson's son's listening, you should have had him write the will before while they were going on. You've got to imagine that's why he allowed this to happen, right? Just because of that massive inheritance that's waiting for him. Son, I want to steal blood from you. I want you to be basically a mobile blood pack. Is that cool? Yes, Dad. Who's inheriting the house? Don't get me wrong. I love my family. Would I let them daily take blood from me? Then we're, I don't know. So apparently the blood transfusions he was receiving from his teenage son have had no effect. You've got to imagine that's good news for the son, right? Okay, Brian Johnson, a 45-year-old multi-millionaire tech executive, has halted his practice of receiving blood infusions from younger individuals, including his teenage son, as a part of his efforts to reverse the aging process. After undergoing 6 young plasma exchanges over 6 months, Johnson found no discernible benefits. He evaluated various biomarkers and concluded that while such treatments might benefit older populations or specific conditions, they did not offer any advantages in his case. So there you go. If you're like the vampire myth, false. you want reducing age. You won't live forever if you eat blood. There you go. Let's see. Let's continue. And then remember, I freaked out of the importance of the discovery of a new superconductor. We spoke at length about what a superconductor is, what these materials do. Well, apparently, LK-99 isn't a superconductor. And this is why I sit on some news stories for a couple of weeks before I report on them. This one got me excited, so there you go. So yeah, apparently the LK-99 is not a superconductor. How science sleuths solved the mystery. This is a great article from nature.com. Again, all the links from the articles that I use in the show, they'll go to my Patreon. You can find them there. Researchers have debunked the claim that LK-99, a compound of copper, lead, phosphorus, and oxygen, is a superconductor that operates at room temperatures and ambient pressure. Initial excitement arose when a team from Seoul suggested that LK-99 displayed superconductive properties. However, subsequent studies revealed that impurities in the material, especially copper sulfide, were responsible for the observed behaviors that resembled superconductivity. The genuine nature of LK-99 when isolated from these impurities is of an insulator, not a superconductor. Bwah, bwah, bwah. Could have changed the world, friends. A superconductor that operates at room temperature. I'm not going to go over the whole just, if you want to know about superconductors, what they do, you just find that previous episode and listen to it. Apparently LK-99, not world-changing material. Min commenting here on the 45-year-old millionaire literally willing to sacrifice his kid. Yeah, or at least his kid's blood, right? I've heard of worse reasons to have children, I'll be honest. I just want the experience. Like, there are worse reasons to have kids than I want to steal the blood in an attempt to live forever. Okay, fine. That sounds perfectly reasonable. Okay, and finally, we're going to take a look at the Bank of Ireland. What's been happening? A glitch. A glitch allows customers to withdraw money they don't have. Oh, why can't my bank do that? La Caixa? Go to Ireland to find your tech people, please. Un fallo permite a los clientes retirar de dinero que no tienen. There's a glitch, un fallo. A technical glitch in the Bank of Ireland's app and website allowed customers to withdraw up to 1,000 euros from ATMs, from cash machines, cajeros, I think you say in Spanish, even if they didn't have sufficient funds in their accounts. The Bank of Ireland has since apologized for the inconvenience. No, dude. It's no worries. You keep on going. No rush in fixing that. Apologize for the inconvenience. The only inconvenience party here was the Bank of Ireland. No apologies necessary. Acknowledging that some customers couldn't access their accounts and others took advantage of the error, of course. The bank warned that any funds withdrawn beyond account limits would be debited. The incident led to a public frustration, with many airing grievances online. This isn't the first time the bank has faced technical issues, prompting concerns about its contingency plans. There you go, guys. Those are 3 juicy news stories for today. Dude, I wish my bank would do that. Rob, yeah, take as much money as you want. Sorry for the inconvenience. No apologies necessary. Let's see. When I hear the name Brian Johnson, it's always come to mind the one and only Brian Johnson, singer of AC/DC. Oh, yeah, you know what?
That gets the ProBoh stamp of approval.
It's not that Brian Johnson, but don't you kind of wish it was? They still know where all the money goes. It's not like it's a free $1,000. You just get into debt. Those who are angry about it probably tried to abuse it. True story. True story, man. But wouldn't you? You're down to the last breaths, the last dying gasps in your bank account. Like it's, the week before payday. We've all been there. Oh, can't go out tonight, chaps. The well runneth dry. Hang on a minute. So there you go, guys. Those are some news stories. Let's move on to today's unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion.
Ladies and gentlemen, what is an unpopular opinion? Let me tell you. An unpopular opinion is a brain fact. Un pedo cerebral, un pedo mental. I share it with you on my social media. You guys vote there and we discuss it right here. So today's unpopular opinion is that that patriotism is not a virtue. El patriotismo, que no es una virtud. Okay, so patriotism is not a virtue. I shared that on my Instagram account. If you want to go and vote on these there, you can do that @ professional bohemian. That's bohemio profesional, pero en inglés, vamos. Okay, so I shared that with you on Instagram. Proved to be quite popular. Would you like to know the results on Instagram? Here we go. 76% of people said true. Yeah, that patriotism is not a virtue. But are there occasions where it is? Let's break it down. Let's break down the idea of patriotism. Okay, so I thoroughly tortured and kicked the elves this morning until they provided me with some pros and cons. Let's go over those right now. So, the idea that patriotism is not a virtue. In favor of this opinion, the pros, los pros. Unquestioned loyalty to one's country can lead to supporting harmful policies or decisions without critical reflection. This can result in condoning or permitting or perpetuating injustices. I think we all like to think, right, that our country, where we're from, the country that birthed us, is not capable of such heinous acts. But on occasion it is. And patriotism, you know, is, I don't know. Is it a shade away from extremism? A blind allegiance to a country? Interesting. I come from this from a particular angle, you see. I don't live in the country where I was born. My parents weren't native to the country where I was born. You know what I mean? I'm a child of many countries, if you want to say it in that way. So the idea of being patriotic to a specific place is kind of alien to me. Let's continue with the pros in favor of this statement. Patriotism can create an us versus them mentality. An us versus them mentality. In Spanish, that would be nosotros contra ellos. Una mentalidad de nosotros contra ellos. Us versus them mentality. What was that? Sorry, what did you say?
¿Será posible? Vaya nivelazo.
Sorry, I heard you saying something. I think it was that, wasn't it? Wasn't it nivelazo? Potentially leading to xenophobia or nationalism. I mean, that's the end of the road of patriotism, right? This can obstruct efforts to foster global unity, cooperation, and understanding. Next, what's considered patriotic can be widely based on interpretation. Based on one's moral compass on patriotism alone can be inconsistent and subjective. What's considered patriotic can widely vary based on interpretation. Basing one's moral compass on patriotism alone can be inconsistent and subjective. It's true, right? You know, if you're not going to use your own moral compass as based or as flexible as it is, as we've discussed in this show before, if you're not going to use your own, but delegate that kind of thought process to the country in which you were born, just on geography, base your morals. I find that to be quite inconsistent. And next in the pro column and final point in the pro column, leaders and governments might exploit patriotic feelings for their own political or personal gains, leading to manipulation of the masses. Obviously, I'm not going to go into it, but we have seen a very famous example of this, right? In a very big, powerful Western country. A leader asking for donations that went to his own pocket, his own legal counsel. Okay, arguing against the point, saying that patriotism is a virtue. Here we go. So patriotism can foster a sense of belonging, unity, and shared purpose among citizens. This can result in collective efforts and better the nation. Many view it as a moral duty to care for and support one's country. Just as one would support their family or community, this commitment can lead to actions and decisions that are for the greater good. How do you feel about that? Some truth to it, right? Becoming a better citizen of your country does support more the masses, but as we've discussed before, like, does that really exist? That kind of altruism, just based on something as objectively irrelevant as a geographic landmass? The Iberian Peninsula. Okay, this is going to be my personality now. Anyway, let's continue. Historical context. Patriotism has inspired countless individuals to make sacrifices for the greater good of their country, including defending it during times of war or crisis. We're going to circle back on this point later. Historical context. Patriotism has inspired individuals to make sacrifices for the greater good of their country, including defending it during times of war and crisis. We're going to circle back to this one later on. And then finally, a sense of patriotism can motivate individuals to be more engaged with civic duties such as voting, volunteering, or contributing to the betterment of society. Some good points there. Let me pay some attention here to the chat. Let's see what they're saying. Vero says, patriotism is something that grows in you with time. If you don't identify yourself with your country, culture, customs, there's no patriotism at all. As I see it, politics don't have anything to do with patriotism. I'm not sure I agree with that point, because ultimately a government makes decisions for the country, and being a patriot would insinuate that you would blindly follow and agree with those decisions. I don't know, because we see in the United States, for example, people calling themselves patriots but rallying against the powers that be. So where is the seat of patriotism? Is it based on the people? Based on an idealized version of what that country could be, should be? Weird. I see that as a little bit of blind faith, if you ask me. You know? It's blind faith. Anyway, let's continue. Unquestioned patriotism is just nationalism. No. Says Min. I'm definitely not a patriot of the country where I live. I'm a patriot of the planet. Oh, Eugene.
That gets the ProBoh stamp of approval.
Me too, my dude. I'm a man without a country. I mean, I have a country of choice, and that's right here in Spain. But I am a man without a country, really. Okay, let's continue. Min, blind patriotism can't be good, but the unity from small amounts of patriotism is probably beneficial for a country. A diverse and massive country like the US needs some patriotism to remain united. We see the same in Russia, China, etc. I wonder how many people truly fight for their country. Yeah, it's interesting, right? I mean, if I project myself in a time of war and I was forced to fight, I wouldn't be fighting for my country. I think I'd be fighting for my family, my friends, my freedom. But does that necessarily translate to a patriotic feeling? I wouldn't say so, given that most of my friends, family are, expats, people from all over the world. Let's circle back to that point of historical context, right? In the con column, Los Contras. Patriotism has inspired countless individuals to make sacrifices for the greater good of their country, including defending it in times of war and crisis. Yeah, defending it in times of war and crisis. But what about when war and crisis can be manufactured through indoctrination, through a controlled media? You can manufacture crisis. The war on drugs, the war on terror, war against concepts. You can't go to war against drugs. I mean, sure, you can shoot a marijuana plant. But that's about it. You know, you can't go to war on terror. That would mean, going to war against Freddy Krueger. You can't go to war against a concept. There are a lot of propaganda. The propaganda machine is capable of making you believe there is an enemy, and we see that in the news today every single day. News is designed to scare you, to villainize another section of the community in which you live. Let me tell you, there are no enemies out there. So can patriotism be a good thing when it is so easily influenced? It's an interesting point, right? It's an interesting point. So, which leads us to the unpopular opinion today that patriotism is not a virtue. Can it be that patriotism is in some way naive, a blind faith in a concept or an ideal? Does that not sound like religion to you? Religious fanaticism? Should we not be questioning more, paying more allegiance to the global community, the planet as a whole? About the only thing that President Ronald Reagan ever said that I completely agreed with was the fact that nothing would unite the human race like being visited or going to war with an alien civilization. You would see those barriers and walls melt down so quickly. We would unite so closely if there was an external force outside of our own planet. You know, let's not pretend that borders exist. These are imaginary lines in the dirt that men made. So, is patriotism really a virtue? I'm not going to tell you guys. You guys are going to tell me. I'm going to post a poll in the chat and we'll find out. Is patriotism a virtue? True or false? Okay, guys, I have to go for a quick commercial break. Thank you so much for tuning in. There's so many things you could have been doing this morning, my friends. But instead of doing those things, you took the time to spend some time with me, and it means the world. See you soon. Hey guys, if you'd like to support the show, you can do so on Patreon. That's patreon.com/professional bohemian. There you'll find VODs of the episodes as they are recorded live, blogs, vlogs, and behind-the-scenes content. If you'd like to watch the show live, you can do so on twitch.tv/professional bohemian, and you can participate in the polls we use in the show on Instagram @professional bohemian or Twitter @ProBoh, ProBoh. Okay, on with the show.
The ProBoh Show!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Joining you on this beautiful Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Central European Time, 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US. How are you doing out there, friends? Oh my God, what a day we've had. So we spoke about the tech millionaire. We brought him up again, Mr. Brian Johnson, who is no longer receiving blood transfusions from his son, from his teenage son, in an attempt to reduce or reverse the aging process. I mean, jeez Louise. Again, I've heard way worse excuses to have kids. You know. Let's continue. LK-99, a bit of cleanup on that story there. We reported on this a week ago, I want to say, or maybe a couple of weeks ago. The material that was discovered and claimed to be a superconducting material, but at room temperature, which would be a game changer for planet Earth. Apparently is not a superconductor. It was impurities within the material that gave it properties that seemed like superconductivity, but was not, sadly. But never mind. And then finally, a glitch in the Bank of Ireland's app that allowed people to withdraw €1,000 that they didn't have. Sounds like the most wonderful gift. But sadly, you know, they're on top of it. They know who's drawn the money out, so they'll have to pay it back. Mwah, mwah, mwah. You know, just when you thought you got €1,000 payday for nothing. Oh. And then we moved on to today's unpopular opinion, which is patriotism is not a virtue. I asked the wonderful live viewers in the chat to vote on that. The vote has now finished, so I am in possession of the results. At the beginning there, I thought it was going to go a different way, and then it switched. So it was quite interesting to watch on the sidelines through the break. Guys, again, if you want to join the show live, you can do that at 8:30 Central European Time every single day on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/professional bohemian. Also, by the way, I've been told I should promote my YouTube more. So you should go to my YouTube. Occasionally I release the full VOD. I'm going to try and do that at least once a week. But there you can listen to the podcast, look at short videos that I've made, all that kind of thing. So just search the ProBoh Show on YouTube, you'll find me there. So let's get into this. Let's dig into this. This idea that patriotism is not a virtue. I was making the argument, that better to be a patriotic, if you want to use that word, or exhibit pride in the world, right? Rather than a specific geographic territory. It seems like a weird thing to be aligned to, right? So in reality, I don't think the seat of patriotism is based in a geographic location, but mainly more towards a country. I think we're basically pretty tribal people at the end of the day. We want to feel like we belong. And patriotism It's just a symptom of that, I think. Bridge says here, that sentiment was mirrored by a German teacher I knew who was half Spanish, half Italian. When I asked, he would say he felt European. That's a great point. Yeah, I have heritage. I was born in England to an Italian Polish family, and I live in Spain. I feel European. But am I patriotic? Or do I exhibit patriotism towards Europe? I'm very proud of being European. I'm proud of a lot of the gatekeeping they've done with regards to privacy on the internet. I think that's a wonderful thing that they've done. But I wouldn't say I'm patriotic. I would be against any war that Europe wanted to get into. I believe, I don't believe a loss of life is ever justified. But that doesn't seem to be on the agenda for Europe. I mean, we have a heritage of infighting, right, in Europe that has led us to a place where we've become unified. And that idea, that concept of unity among so many different cultures, I'm proud of that. I wouldn't consider myself patriotic because to me, the concept of patriotism involves a certain blind faith in a country. I don't know if that mirrors with you guys. Again, all these are opinions, friends. And as Grandpa Bo used to say, opinions are like buttholes. Everybody has one, and they all stink, even mine. Okay, let's see. Let's continue. I don't think patriotism has to be bad, but calling it a virtue is probably going too far.
That gets the ProBoh stamp of approval.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement. Doesn't necessarily mean bad, right? A lot of great things have been done in the name of patriotism. I'm thinking back to the speeches of Winston Churchill, inspiring the British public to survive such terrible times as the Blitz and whatnot. Patriotism doesn't have to be bad, but putting a blind faith in a country opens yourself to be easily manipulated, and that to me is dangerous. Urs says, you skipped my opinion, Rob. Urs, I don't see a message from you in the chat. Occasionally, when it's very, very long, it doesn't appear. So if you've got it there, cut and paste it in various sections, and I'll read it out in the show. My bad. I'm sorry. It's the platform. It's not me. Sorry, Urs. Let's continue. So I did receive some messages on Instagram with regards to this topic. I'm going to read a few of those right now. Okay. Let's see. Nessa said, okay, I have different feelings about this. I feel that maybe sometimes you are proud to belong, be it to a country, family, a culture. Belonging gives us a sense of security. I think patriotism is also part of the pride of belonging. But on the other hand, I don't really believe in borders, and patriotism somehow implies a kind of rupture that can lead to conflict. So I'm not quite sure what to vote. Interesting.
That gets the ProBoh stamp of approval.
Yeah. I mean, patriotism, a pride in a closed group almost fosters, or a certain exclusive group, kind of fosters an us versus them mentality, right? And are we not looking for a more unified world? Oh my God, I'm going to get another message on Instagram about being a globalist. He's turning the frogs gay. Yeah. So my globalist overlords have paid me to say that shouldn't we be looking towards a more united world rather than more close-knit, smaller communities? I'm not sure how I feel about this either. Let's continue. Felicia says, from a historical lens, blind patriotism can be dangerous. We need to be informed, question narratives, and not simply accept everything on face value. It's vital to know the difference between a love for one's country and blind allegiance. Oh, that was the wrong sound effect, friends. It's true. Where is that line drawn for most people? The difference between loving the country. I mean, I love England. I love it. It's a country I was born. It was a country that made me who I am. through its challenges and its virtues, it made me who I am. I'm very proud of British music, British cinema, British food. Yeah? British food. Oh, look at that.
That's the ProBoh stamp of approval.
I won the last argument about this, so I don't want to hear any complaining. I'm very proud of being English, but I'm very critical of the country as well. You know, and I wouldn't blindly follow things that I just simply don't believe in. And I don't idealize, and I think this is a main issue with patriotism. I don't idealize a version of the country that existed in the past or could potentially exist. I love the country for what it is, its faults and its virtues, but I wouldn't say it's a blind allegiance, which I kind of in some way kind of relate the word patriotism to, a blind allegiance. Interesting. Thank you for that, Felicia. You get actually get one.
That gets the ProBoh stamp of approval.
That was a good one. Lucas, I respect everyone's opinion, but to me, patriotism means honoring the sacrifices many made for our freedom. It's not about being blind, but about recognizing the value of unity and loyalty to one's homeland.
That gets the ProBoh stamp of approval.
Not my opinion, but still a good one, I think, Lucas. Yeah. I mean, is that what patriotism means to you? You know? Let's say, I mean, what even is the dictionary definition of patriotism? I'll tell you right now, patriotism. There we go. Why didn't I do this basic research before the show? Shut up. The quality of being patriotic, devotion to and vigorous support for one's country. That's coming from dictionary.com. Devotion, you know, I mean, this is very clear. Devotion to and vigorous support for one's country. I find the concept of patriotism makes people too easy to manipulate, and that worries me. Anyway, thank you for that, Lucas. Interesting point there. And Derek, finally, we live in a global world now, and while it's cool to represent where you're from, it's more important to think about our impact on the planet and humanity as a whole. Patriotism can sometimes overshadow the bigger picture. Oh, I agree with that statement wholeheartedly. You know? Interesting. Let's see. Urs, please break the comment up in little bits and send it because we're coming to the end of the section now. Let's see. Hitler's followers were patriots, weren't they? Says the bridge. Yeah. Look, when you historically speaking, anytime a country goes through a time of economic struggle, there's a rise in nationalism. Happened after the First World War in Germany. It's happened here in Europe several times. It's happened in the States. Led to a rise in national thought. And I'm talking about Marine Le Pen in France, here in Europe, and the rise of certain nationalist kind of groups and groupthink. And you can see very clearly in these patriotic, ultra-patriotic groups that there is a very much an us versus them philosophy, anti-immigration, controlled borders, these imaginary lines we draw in the dirt and say, this is mine. Let's continue. A more global, unified world still has patriotism, but as Nessa said, it will just be for different groups, sport clubs, religions, whatever. And if we discover an alien species, we'd probably become discriminatory towards that species. Yeah. Is discrimination innate in the human experience? Do we have to discriminate against others in order to feel unified? It's an interesting question, right? Is discrimination necessary in a feeling of unity? Like, I don't have that patriotic feeling because I don't feel like I belong to any particular country. But the closest facsimile I can make is when I was a teenager, I loved heavy metal music. I was big into the community. I had my long hair, wore my skin-tight jeans. And a part of being into heavy metal and going to heavy metal clubs and being around heavy metal people was a little bit of a dubious relationship with the electronic and dance music scene practitioners. Look at these idiots. And that's not fair to say, right? Just because I liked a particular music. And, you can kind of implant that feeling or project that feeling onto something that is equally as irrational as a devotion to a geographic landmass illustrated with borders that we have just invented ourselves through either conflict or, natural rivers. To be aligned to a country makes no sense. So it must be about the feeling of belonging. So is discriminating against another group necessary or just a symptom of a patriotic, unified feeling? I don't know. I mean, this is me just spitballing here with you guys. Let's see. The bridge. Rob, I can understand in exactly the same place in our thinking. We are exactly the same place in our thinking in this case. Yeah, I think discrimination often comes from fears or insecurity, and I think those two are reasons why people want to be part of a big, safe group like they are within nationalism. Yeah, I think so. But that kind of nationalism does tend to make us very, very susceptible to propaganda, right? Which, going back to the Bridges point, was a big part of Hitler's rise to power in Germany, was a propagandizing. Mein Kampf, the burning of the Reichstag, Interesting. This is a fascinating topic. We might come back to this on another day. I think we're going to make the second half of this show a little bit longer. I'm going to turn off my clock. This is a podcast exclusive. I'm not going to stress out. I'm enjoying it. Okay, so let's go. I think so. The strongest unity probably comes within groups who convince themselves that they're all they've got. I think that's the basis which cults get formed. Yeah, probably. All right. So, without further ado, I think we're going to go into the vote for this unpopular opinion. So, I made the statement that patriotism is not a virtue. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's not a virtue. Okay. So, patriotism is not a virtue. Something doesn't have to be bad if it's not good. It can be just something in between, a concept or whatever. So patriotism is not a virtue. Here's what you guys said. 71% true. Well done. Yeah. Interesting. And it brings up so many interesting subjects and thoughts to chew on, right? That we may even come back to on future shows. Does patriotism lead to propagandizing? I think it could in certain aspects. But to circle back to a point Min made, whereas patriotism can lead down some pretty dangerous rabbit holes, it does bring a feeling of unity, of community. And those are certainly not bad things, right? I think anything when taken to an extreme can be bad. Anything. I don't think patriotism is particularly a bad thing. And me as an immigrant in this country, I don't feel scared when I see a Spanish flag. I don't feel any particular pride when I go to England and I see a Union Jack. So the idea of patriotism to me is alien, which is why I find this such a fascinating subject to talk about. But yeah, patriotism doesn't have to be bad. It can be a good thing, and there are positive aspects. But calling it a virtue as Min said earlier, I think is one step a little too far. All right, guys, on that note, we're going to go to today's 100 Humans. Oh my God, friends. It was a long walk to work today across snow-capped mountains and through river valleys. And on that walk, I encountered 100 humans and I asked them all a question. Today's question was to name something that has strings on it. Name something that has strings on it. I asked them that question. They gave me their answers. I'm in possession of the top 7 answers right now. Your job in the chat is to identify those top 7 answers. Nombra algo que tenga cuerdas. But strings in the English definition of the word. Strings can be several kinds of things. So name something that has strings on it. I asked them that question. They gave me their answers. Now it's your turn. Okay. Name something that has strings on it. What do you think, guys? Okay. Urs says a guitar. Min also says a guitar. Name something that has strings on it. A guitar. Is a guitar there? Yes, it is. Well done, guys. A guitar is there. And with 39 of 100 humans, the number 1 answer. Well done, well done. Eugene says a violin. Is a violin there? A violin. Is it there? No, it's not. Good answer. But it's not there. Min says a cello. A cello. Is a cello there? Yes, it is. Well done. Because I see there's a lot of musical instruments being said here. A bass, piano, ukulele. None of the other answers. Wait, sorry. Violin is there, Eugene. My bad. Such an a-hole. Didn't read the 100 humans answers properly. Violin was there. But I'm going to give you a clue, guys. None of the other answers, none of them, none of the rest are instruments, are musical instruments. The rest are not musical instruments. Name something that has strings on it. So you identified 3, guitar, violin, and cello. The rest have are not musical instruments. The bridge says G. As in the G string. Is underwear there? No, it's not. It's not there. It's not there. Okay, let's continue. A parachute. Is a parachute there? Parachute is a great answer, by the way. A parachute. Something that has strings on it. A parachute. Is parachute there? No. Oh, God, 100 humans. What are you doing? It's a great answer, but it's not there. Born to Iron Man says a puppet. Marionetta. A puppet. If it's The Master of by Metallica, better. Oh, totally. Dun, 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 dun. Oh. Born to Iron Man speaking directly to my soul there. Is a puppet there? Yes, it is. Well done. It's there. It's the number 2 answer with 19 of 100 humans saying a puppet. Very, very good. Let's see. A tennis racket, says Eugene. A tennis racket. Tennis racket. Is a tennis racket there? No, it's not. Another great answer, though. This is a difficult one because there are so many things with strings on them. Min says a light bulb that you would turn on with a string or a ceiling fan. None of those things. Okay. It's clue time. It's clue time. Okay, this one is something you would maybe get for a child at the zoo. The string is used to so it doesn't fly away or float away. Yeah, something that would have a string on it. They're made of plastic, full of hot air. I'm not talking about Donald Trump. Come on. What do you think? Something that is, Oh, Min has an answer here. Min has an answer. He says a balloon. Is a balloon there? Yes, it is. Well done. Balloon is there with 4 of 100 humans. Well done. Sailboat says oars. A boat, a sailboat, definitely has strings in the form of ropes. Is it there? Oh! Oars, too clever for the 100 humans today, I think. Too clever for the 100 humans. The 100 humans are like me. They're a little bit kind of despistado. They're a little bit dumb, distracted. Okay, Min says a kite. Una cometa, would you say? Kite? Oh my God, Rob.
¿Será posible? Vaya nivelazo.
I'm not even using the translation, Elf. This is coming purely from the mind of the bald man. Pushed out a few more hair follicles coming up with cometa. All right, is kite there? Yes, it is. Well done. It is the number 4 answer. Guys, you've only got one more to get. All right. And I think I can give you a clue, successful clue for this one. In the 90s, when I was a kid, these, for a period of time, became so popular. You could call it a game. It's not a competitive game. It's something you would challenge yourself with. You know, and they've existed for centuries. Used to be made out of wood. The string is an essential part. You can do tricks with them. And that was kind of the benefit of these things. This was the magic of these things. The fact that you could do tricks. Yeah. Min has an answer. Min's on fire today. He says, a yo-yo. Is a yo-yo there? Whoa, well done. You did it. That was the number 5 answer. Let's go through the list of answers, my friends. So I asked 100 humans to name something that has strings on it. Nombra algo que tenga cuerdas. Okay, in position number 7, we had a cello. A cello, the beautiful musical instrument. While we're talking about Metallica, there's a band called Apocalyptica. They're the cellists that play heavy metal music. Amazing stuff. In position number 6, we had a balloon. A balloon. In position number, a globo in Spanish. In position number 5, God, elves, chill out, was a yo-yo. I don't know how you say yo-yo in Spanish. Yo-yo. Yo-yo. Do you say me for yo-yo? You guys, so egotistical. Come on. Okay, in position number, I don't know what number we're on. 4. Okay, thank you, elves. Was a kite, una cometa. In position number 3 was a violin. A violin. In position number 2, name something that has strings on it, a puppet. And finally, in position number 1, we had a guitar. Well done, guys. Difficult one today. Too many options. All right, let's go to Complete the News.
Complete the news.
Oof, we've got a good one for today, my friends. Yes, we do. Okay, as promised in the first half of the show, today we're going to talk about a plague of something in Germany. So, complete the news. I'm going to give you a news headline, un titular. But I'm going to leave out some important information. If you're one of the people who are joining us in the chat but are not typing, maybe you feel too nervous to write your opinions, this is your moment, because all you have to write is A, B, or C. A, B, or C. So here we go. All right. A plague of drunken blank is raiding homes and killing pets. A plague of drunken blank is raiding homes and killing pets. Una plaga de blanc borrachos asalta hogares y mata mascotas. A plague of drunken blank is raiding homes and killing pets. But is it A, a plague of drunken teenagers, B, a plague of drunken tourists, or C, raccoons? Mapaches, I think you say in Spanish. Mapache? Did I get that right? No one in the chat is literally no
¿Será
one
posible? Vaya nivelazo.
A, B, or C. How you doing, PJB? Okay, a plague of drunken blank in Germany is raiding homes and killing pets. Is it A, teenagers, B, tourists, or C, raccoons? I think I made this one too easy, did I? Well, I see everyone in the audience saying C. I get nervous. Okay, is it C though? Is it raccoons? Shall we see? All right, friends, here we go. A plague of drunken. C, raccoons. Well done, guys. I will salute the Bridge for being the only person to say tourists. Well done, Bridge. People better not be killing pets, says Min. Yeah, we'll go John Wick on those people. So this is actually true. This piece of news coming from, where was it? I can't even remember. Oh well, I will post the link later in my Patreon so you can see it for yourself. In Germany, a surge of invasive raccoons fond of German beer. Who isn't? Come on. Fond of German beer has been wreaking havoc by breaking into homes and even killing pets. Homeowners have reported damages up to 10,000 euros due to these animals, particularly in their kitchens. The country's National Hunting Association disclosed that they exterminated a record 200,000 raccoons. Oh my God, Rocket. No. Last year to manage the population, a significant increase from the 10,000 figure 2 decades prior. Despite their seemingly adorable appearance, these raccoons, introduced during the Nazi era, have become a nuisance in certain regions. I had no idea that raccoons were introduced to Germany in the Nazi era. There you go. We learned something today. All right, my friends, we have to call it a day on today's episode of The ProBoh Show. I'll be back again tomorrow with more fun and madness. A big thank you for being here in the middle of summer, joining me live on this podcast exclusive episode. Thank you so very much, guys. Million places you could have been today, but instead of being in those places and doing those things, you took the time to spend some time with me, and it means the absolute world. I'll see you tomorrow.